All right, guys, welcome back to another video of Tied Up with the Morgans. This is part 3 of the maple syrup. So the first part was pretty much all about the tapping. The second part was about the evaporator. And this part is going to show a lot of the boiling process and also the filtering process and pretty much the finishing product. So it's going to be an exciting one. Today we are out here collecting sap. So far you have seen the setup of how I tap the trees. You've seen kind of a little bit of why we do that. I've tried to answer questions or explain it as thorough as I could. And then you've seen me collecting the sap. You saw the building of the evaporator, and you've seen a glimpse of the first boil. Now I'm out here collecting more sap, and I haven't collected in probably 5 days now, which is pretty long. But the reason is the last 5 days, or maybe longer, have been cold. It's cold again, and we haven't had many warm days. The warmest has been maybe like 37. And so the trees, the sap, it isn't having the time or the sun to thaw out. So it freezes, obviously, at night. And during the day, it's to thaw, the warmer it gets. But the trees, I don't think they're getting warm enough, so that sap's not flowing. So I've been out here a few times to check, and there's very minimal sap. But not tomorrow. The day after, it's going to start to warm up, and we're going to have a little warm spell. So I think then we should be getting a decent amount of flow coming in. Right now I have about 20 gallons of sap sitting right here. There's my ice pile. So there's 20 gallons in there, and we'll see what we get out of the 20 trees that we have to collect from. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into right now. All right, so the first tree we're going to check, not a lot, but we kind of went over why. So we're just going to keep checking them, and I don't expect to get more than maybe like 8 gallons, maybe. That's okay. This was the collection from the first tree, maybe a gallon. And here on the second tree, there's about 2.5 gallons. And as you can tell, it is frozen solid. That's very helpful when it comes to storing sap. You want it to stay cool. You don't want it to go bad. Anything over 40 degrees really has the potential to go bad. An easy way to tell is just by paying attention to the color, right? So you can tell it's very clear, and can't tell in this one as much because it's frozen. But when the sap is clear, everything is good. When it starts to get cloudy, that's when it's going bad, and it can spoil. So you don't want it to get cloudy, but we are fortunate right now with this weather that the snow pile I have is still there, and also the sap at the trees is plenty cool. It's frozen actually, which is great, so we don't have to worry about anything spoiling. So yeah, I guess so far we have a little more than I expected. We'll see what the other trees bring. So we are pouring what's in here, and yeah, it's interesting how this thing freezes. I guess it just kind of is like hollowed out, you know. So there it goes. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. So now we're going to have to break this ice to get it in the bucket. All right, that first tree really kind of threw me off. I was telling you maybe 8 gallons is what I would expect out of the 20 trees. Probably 5. And so far the first 3 trees I have 5 gallons, so I was way off. Yeah, I guess the trees did warm up a little more than I expected, but I guess it makes sense. Pretty much every day but one was above freezing, just not by a lot. So it is flowing, and yeah, so we'll see what the other 17 bring. All right, guys, today we are boiling, and there's been some other video of this. I just kind of want to go over everything more in detail as to why we do this. We boil because the sap that comes from the maple trees, it is 98% water. So you have to boil off all of that water to get to the sugar content, to get to maple syrup. In order to make maple syrup, you have to boil all of that off. And that's what takes quite a bit of time. But I'm going to show you what I use. We've gone over it. I guess we've gone over that But we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna show you, kind of go over me starting the fire, and it really takes me about a good hour. I would say it takes probably at least an hour for the fire to get like pretty hot. Honestly, probably an hour and a half to start boiling. But then once it starts going, it is really it's really fast. Yeah, it starts to boil. It's pretty sustainable at that point. All you do is just you keep adding wood, keep adding sap, and I check on it every 30-40 minutes, and I could even probably go longer, but I just don't want to wait too long in the case that, because if it were to boil down, you would ruin your pans, you'd ruin the sap, the syrup, and also I don't want the fire to kind of die down. I don't want to have to build that back up. So what I do is every 30 minutes I'm pretty much out here, add more wood, add more sap, and that's it. I mean, it might sound like a lot, but really it's not all that bad. The house is right here in front of me, so I mean the evaporator's right here, so it's not far. We yeah, I think we got a good setup. We just come out here, add more wood, add more sap, and keep rotating. We keep filtering as we're doing it too. But yes, we're going to show you what we got here. Here's some of that wood, and got some really good dry sticks, a lot of that in here. One thing that helps too is when you're trying to get that hot fire is a blower. This is just a battery operated blower that we use. It's 20 volt DeWalt. Works great for us. Alright, as you can see, it did not take long, really just about a minute, and it's all catching. And we're gonna get a good burn here. So I am gonna end up using the blower. It's just satisfying, but you'll see the chimney works pretty well once this thing gets going. Okay, just dumped out the sap. This is 5 gallons here, and it was all frozen overnight, so that's good. We're gonna throw this pan on now. You'll see, yeah, a lot of ice. Gonna take some time, but the fire's warming up. Chimney's working great, getting that smoke away from the sap. Yeah, it's a good day. We threw 10 gallons of sap in. Here's 10 more. Gonna try and just let it thaw out some because it's pretty frozen. We got a whole lot more wood in the IBC tote. But yeah, we're gonna check back in a little bit. You can see this is starting to melt a little bit, but it's gonna take a while to get a good boil. Okay, here's a little update. I just added about 10 more gallons of sap. So far we've boiled down 25 today. Yeah, about 25, and it's really going well. Got a really good hot fire in here, as you can tell. A lot of good hot coals, and it is cooking really well. So yeah, no complaints. As you can tell, there's really no leaks, and that heat is yeah, this is working out really well. I'm pretty happy with it. So this is something that I'd recommend anyone. It's a cheap build, an easy build, and very efficient. All right, I am now almost done with boiling. In total, I've boiled about 82 gallons, I think, maybe a little more. See the difference in color here. This first pan here is actually all water now, and then this back one is just all sap, soon to be syrup. The reason this is all water is because that's all the sap I have, and I want to keep this pan on because it really helps keep the heat, right? So by keeping that on there, I can't leave it empty, or that'll ruin the pan. So I filled it with water, and this back one here, it's still boiling, and it's we're getting close, really. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to end up finishing it tomorrow. I have a nice stainless steel pot that I'll pour this in, and it has a lid, so I'll store it tonight. And then tomorrow, I believe, after work, what I'll do is I'll use the turkey fryer to finish this. So keep in mind, this is a 20 by 20 pan, and it's 6 inches deep. And I would say it's probably 2 inches full right now, which I believe is about 3 gallons of sap in there. So it's a lot more than it looks. And I learned that the hard way when I was trying to pick one of these up, when I thought it's not that much, and it was really heavy, especially when it's hot. You know, I got good gloves on, but still, you don't want to mess around with this stuff. So I ended up leaving it and waiting until later to get it off. And that's probably what I'm going to do tonight. It's going to get cold tonight, so I'm actually going to just let this fire boil down, burn out is what I should say. So I'm not going to add any more wood. And yeah, as you can tell, right now it's just hot coals. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do, is just let this boil down tonight. And I might end up removing these front blocks. That's what I did last night. I was boiling about 30 gallons or almost 40 yesterday. And I ended up just removing these blocks and I just let it go. Tonight it's a little low for comfort, so I might remove this front one. I did that last night as well to allow more air through, so it's not going to boil too much tonight. And at least that's what I did last night, and I'm pretty sure that's what I'll do tonight, is by removing this front pan, it's not going to be nearly as hot. Removing the front blocks, and this will just slowly boil down tonight. And then in the morning before work, I mean, it'll be cold at that point, so I'm not worried about that. I will then pour this into the stock pot that I have, and then finish it after work, which we will show you that next. So the way I finish the sap is I boil it. I don't use the evaporator. I finish it on the turkey fryer, which is right here. So this is just a turkey fryer that uses propane, and you know, just throw the pot right on here, and it's worked out well for me. It's easy. The reason I like this is it's easier to control the temperature of, whereas with the evaporator, it's pretty much going, right? You're not going to slow that down, and it's not as easy to move the pans around. So with this setup, I like it because I can just, if for whatever reason I had to, I could just shut the heat off, and I can lift the pot, all of that a lot easier. So I like this method because what you want to do is you want to get it to 219 degrees exactly, and that's really nice with the turkey fryer because it gets it to a boil pretty quick. Because the reason this works better is you're not using nearly as much, right? When you're boiling down the sap, you have so many gallons of sap. I mean, this year we had like probably 90 to 100 gallons that we had to end up boiling. And that's far too much to do on a turkey fryer because it takes longer. But if you just have a few gallons, which at this point, you know, we probably have 2 to 3, probably 2 gallons in here. And so that will be really easy to boil down. That'll go pretty quick. So that's why this isn't the most ideal thing if you have tapped a lot of trees and you have a lot of sap. If you have a few trees, it'll work great. Well, in the middle of the boiling, Kate was kind enough to cook some lunch. So she just brought that out and we are about to eat. Jake's here too. So I'm gonna sit down and... Kate, what are we having?
ผัดกะเพราเนื้อ It's like beef basil stir fry.
It's one of my favorites.
If you want to go back at the first video we did with the shrimp and ground pork, but this one is like steak beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of your first videos you made this with shrimp and ground pork.
Right.
Okay. Today we're having it with beef. So just gonna take another look at this deliciousness. All right, so here we have some soon-to-be syrup. There's a lot in this one, and we are setting up the turkey fryer right now. So to do that, we open everything up, right? And then we will light it, which I'm gonna put this down. All right, we got the fire going, and we've just put the soon-to-be syrup on. We're that sit for a little bit. Got a nice boil going. It smells delicious. It's a nice day. It is 40 degrees. So right now I'm just kind of working outside as I'm monitoring this. The turkey fryer, I have to reset the timer every 15 minutes. So I like to stay close by. That's what I've been doing, is I've just been working around here, cleaning up the yard, stakes, just cleaning up from winter. But in the meantime, while this is boiling, that's what I'm doing. Once this is, has gone down quite a bit, I will start to check the temperature and monitor that. And from there, we'll begin the filtering process. Kate has helped a lot. She's done actually all of the filtering, and it's been a huge help. What she does is she has we got this white cloth, I don't know what it is. It's not cheesecloth. We've used cheesecloth. It doesn't, for the initial filter, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. It would definitely help to get out, if you were worried about having any, bark or anything like that, which you should have filtered already, but if not, it would catch stuff like that. But as far as like the niter, it doesn't really help with that from what I've seen. Maybe if you have enough of it stacked, so you have, a lot of layers, it might make a difference. But yeah, so what we got going on is we have this kind of cloth she uses for the initial filter. That helps get out. So whenever this gets low enough, you'll see we'll filter it from here through that white cloth, and that's going to help get a lot of that niter, like the niter sand, right? So it's like it's crystallized sugar, I believe, something like that. It's very fine. It won't hurt you. It just does not look nearly as good, right? So sometimes you'll see these beautiful jars of maple syrup that just look so good, and it's very clear, and it's just a nice color. Well, that's because they had a good filtering process. If you didn't get all of that sand out, that niter, it's not going to look nearly as good. It's going to be almost kind of cloudy. Again, it's not going to affect the taste at all, from what I hear. Maybe, but maybe it affects the taste. You just don't want that texture on there. All right, so from here, like I said, we'll use that white cloth, and then we take it inside. We put it on the stove to keep it warm, because that helps with filtering. If it's too cool, it's not going to filter. It's just going to it's too thick, right? So it's not going to filter through the cloth. So we use the initial white cloth, take it inside, put it on the stove. Then we begin using coffee filters, which is what works for us. There's a lot of different ways to do this. That's worked really well for us. It's been really clear. We use, we'll use multiple filters, but yeah, we'll filter it through there, and we'll show you the whole process. Kate's got a real good system down, and she's been a big help there. All right, here's the finished product. Kate is now filtering it through this is the first filtration through this sort of cloth we use here, which has worked really well. Yeah, it's just kind of like a cloth like this. All right, so the camera got a little foggy there. That's because it's hot, and that's what you want. You need this to be hot so it'll filter. If it's too cool, it's not going to filter. It's gonna sit and not gonna flow through that cloth. So you want to have it warm, and we know it's done because it reached 219 degrees and it stayed there. So we turned the heat down, let it sit for a little bit while it was on the a simmer, and now we are filtering it. So Kate's had a good system here. What she does is she, like I said, puts it through this cloth first, and then from there she'll run it from this smaller pot here. And so what she's doing here, she's moving that around back and forth. That's because with this, like I've explained a couple times, the niter, I think they call it niter sand, it sometimes will get, and the good thing is it's filtering it, right? But sometimes it'll kind of get backed up. So by doing that, she's kind of moving that sand around so it continue to flow through the fabric, which has been really big. Actually, it's really helped. And that's what, it's kind of hard to tell, like I said, in this dark pan and with the lighting, but you can see if we were to hold this up to the sun, right, and you could see right through it, you'd see all of that niter right now, and it wouldn't look like those beautiful pictures of syrup you see, in the nice glass jars. It wouldn't look like that quite yet, and that's because you have that niter in there. So by filtering it out like we're doing here, that's really going to help with the overall appearance and the taste, because you're not going to have that texture of kind of like a sand, right? It is harmless, so you don't have to filter it out. It's not going to hurt you. But like I said, it will just look a little more appealing. So while we're doing this, I was thinking about, everyone always has input, and we love it. So any of you that tap maple trees and make maple syrup, share below what you use for filtering. I'd like to hear that. That's something we're not experts in any of this, but one of the things that I'm probably know the least about, maybe not, when it comes to syrup, is the filtering process. And I think it's because it tends to be the fastest. Obviously, it is not a quick process to filter this, but in the grand scheme of the whole thing, it's much faster than the countless hours of collecting sap and carrying buckets throughout the woods, and the hours and hours of boiling. So the filtering at the end, it seems to be kind of a quick thing, because you just go in and you do this right after you boil, and you can finish it at in one sitting kind of thing. Whereas boiling takes days, collecting takes days. So I think because of that, this is what I have the least experience in, because it goes so quick. So please, share below what you use, and yeah, maybe something that we can use next year. All right, well, here's what we got so far, guys. I think the season's pretty much done here. It's really kind of coming to an end with the weather. It is getting cold again, but I think it was too warm for too long, so I don't think we're going to get a whole lot more sap. We'll keep checking, but I think our season's about done. And it was a quick one, but it was a great one. It was a really good season, and we had an awesome time. We learned a lot, as always. But you can see, here's what we got so far. We ended up with just under 3 gallons of syrup. We've given away some already, so here's what we have. And yeah, do you want to talk about the different batches?
Yeah, we have done 3 batches so far. This is the first one. The color look a little more yellow, and it's pretty thin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one, I could have boiled it a little longer, I think, but I like it. It's really good. I like the appearance of it.
Yeah, and the second one is this color. It's a little darker, and if you can see, it has the texture that's thicker too.
More thick than that first batch, yeah.
Yeah, Levi was a little worried about the taste, but I tasted it's fine. I don't smell the burn or anything like that. It's just thicker and darker. That's it.
And then this last batch here is yeah, I think obviously it brought, I think, the most, but it has been really good.
I think this is the perfect one with the temperature, the color, the texture. Out of this is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like it. It's really good. All of them are really good. I think it's yeah. I'm excited to we've given away some of this syrup to different people around us, so it's been fun to share that, and it's fun to, after all that work, to here's the end product.
Yeah. And because this is gonna be the part 3, and we are really appreciate you guys being with us, so we're thinking to give away some for you guys, for the lucky people.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll give away 3 of these 5-ounce bottles. We'll give one to 3 different people. So
yeah.
Kate actually made that, which is really cool. She got these glass bottles, and then got the little self-seal thing. So she boil the water, and then it seals the top. I don't know much about that, but so it seals. And then she made this really cool label that has our name and it talks about it. So
it said this is the 100% pure maple syrup from Tied Up with the Morgans. And this is not for individual sale because we are giving away only. And if you see the label, it's gonna say maple syrup, 100% pure syrup by Tied Up with the Morgans.
Yeah, she did really good, and she made it really quick. I was shocked. She told me she wanted to do it. That seems like more work than collecting sap. But no, it was really quick, and she did a great job.
Thank you. And I don't want you to lose the focus on the maple syrup. This batch is the best batch that we made.
Yeah.
And we're going to give the best to you guys.
So yeah, we'll give away 3 of them. Just comment below and we'll pick 3 random people. And we will share the video of us selecting those comments in the next video. And so you'll see all that in there. In the description, we'll have all the rules, everything kind of about that. I mean, it's pretty clear. Just comment below and we'll pick 3 people. It has to be, you have to live in the US or Canada. We'll ship to Canada just because Canadians are always really proud of their maple syrup. So we'll share what, we have in Pennsylvania. I'll say it's probably not perfect, but we're learning. So keep that in mind, but I love it.
So don't forget to read the description because I'm not sure when this video gonna publish because I have a hard time sitting a long time at the computer. So I can't tell right now when. So you need to read.
Yep, read the description.
Yeah.
But I think it's... I really like this hobby because it's a seasonal hobby. It kind of just, it's a busy 6 to 8 weeks, I would say, preparing and doing everything. And then before you know it, it's over though. But it's a nice, fun hobby and it's something fun for the family. Originally when I started, it kind of seemed like it would just be my thing. Like it just seemed like I'm not going to drag, especially last year we had Ty, he was real little. It's like, I'm not going to drag Kate and Ty out in the woods. I'll go do this. I'm not going to make them stand out in the cold and boil. Like it just seemed like it was kind of just like a one-man thing. Whereas this year it's, Ty's gone with me to collect sap. Kate's done all the filtering. She's done, the bottling. She has done the cleaning. There's so much. So we've all been able to be involved more. So it's cool to see that.
Right. What I like about this hobby activity thing is like Ty can go out with him and learn thing with the nature and what we have in our property. It doesn't matter like how young, how old he is, but he getting out, do thing outside and and he learned, and that's what I really like about it's like family involved.
Yeah, it is. It's been fun. So I like that we've gotten the family involved, and even my family on Outdoors with the Morgans and Morgans Off the Leash, they have tons of questions and they've been a big help. My dad, he helped us with all the firewood. So we're grateful for that. And they've been a big help, and what they've really been good at is being taste testers. So they've done a lot of that, and it's nice to get more opinions because Kate has very good taste buds. I always tell her that she can, I think that's why she's such a good cook. She can tell, oh, there's mint in here just from smelling it, or she'll add things to just make it the overall experience better. I don't understand it all, and I am very spoiled, but I'm also very basic in that, I could just eat like spaghetti every day, or like. And my point with that is my taste buds I don't think are the best. I'm not picky, so with this stuff, it could be bad, and I'd be like, oh, it's pretty good. So I don't know. I think it's great.
But it's good.
That's the point. It's nice to have Kate and my family and a lot of people around try it and be like, okay, good. They agree. This is good.
Yeah. So, thank you so much to everyone who being with us and supporting us all the time. Yeah. And just don't forget to read the subscription, the rules that we're going to.
Description, yeah. And
give away 3 bottles. Who live in the US and Canada.
Yeah. And really though, thank you. There's been so many of you have had great input, and it means a lot that there's so many people out there who genuinely want to help and share information and teach us. So that means a lot to me. It's nice to have that and have people who want to share what they know. So it's nice. I didn't feel nearly as alone as I did last year when doing this. Last year we had no idea what we were doing.
Right, we're still
this
new.
year it's nice to share the little we know and then get more feedback.
Yeah, next year gonna be something different, a little different or much different, we don't know yet. So
Yeah.
keep in touch and stay with us still, so you will know what is gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a much bigger operation. We'll see.
Okay, so thank you so much again, and don't forget to click like, subscribe, and share with your friend. If you want to click the notification bell, you will receive the notification. We will have a new video coming out or post or whatever. Yeah, so
Great. Thanks. Giant Eagle called me. I thought it was like my dad or something. All right, we got a good boil going and a good helper. Good job. Wow, that's heavy. Good job. Hey, good job, man.
เก่งมากค่ะ Say hi. Hi. Ty's here. Say hi. Ty's here.